All right, is this happening? Is this happening? Is this real life? Make sure good to go. Get my good side. All right, I'm going. I'm talking about this stuff. Hopefully you guys can see me. They got a webcam here. Um, Hopefully it's not cut off or anything weird. If you can see me, cool. If not, maybe it'll record and I'll show it to you later. Hopefully it's actually streaming this time. So I did this last time. It took me like 45 minutes to go through all your pictures, and then it didn't do anything. It didn't upload or whatever. So hopefully it's working now. I have my camera lens mug, so I can talk about pictures better. I don't know if it's gonna help me out, but I'm gonna go through all your pictures and tell you stuff that I like. Most importantly, remember we talked about our independent project, which you should hopefully be thinking about now that you have a lot of time to think. And we had like 4 categories that we could take pictures of. One was like portraiture, like studio photography, which is what we always do. The other one was event photography. And then we had some cool ones thrown in, which was like photojournalism. And then we had, which would be perfect for right now, we had street photography, which would not be perfect. Don't go hang out with anybody. And then we had like landscape photography, which might be cool now because you can go be by yourself. So we had a bunch of categories. So I'm going to go through these pictures, and I'm also going to categorize them. I have the chat set up here. I might look at it sometimes. So if you guys have questions or something, or you see your picture, feel free to chat stuff. But I'm going to just go through them. I have like 3 keyboards, so hopefully I don't mess this up. These first 2 pictures are both part of the same set, or these first couple ones are part of the same set. You guys see that? So, one thing we looked at, or we tried to do, is like have an idea first and then go through them. And I think the idea is really great here. One thing I wish was like, wow, this one kind of does it, was like there's something sharpened in focus, which this one kind of gets to. I like how sharp that is. This weird stuff that's happening, I don't know if you guys can see this, there's like little speckles all over this picture. I don't know what that is. I don't think that was on purpose. I'm going to blame canvas. But those little speckles I will ignore. See those good colors? I'm going to ignore those. But I like that we have some motion, almost like stroboscopic. And I definitely like this one as like the main one. Man, if we think about which category this fits in, I want to say like studio photography, just because it's everything is set up, and anytime you can control like everything, which only happens in photography, not in real life. You can control everything. That's studio photography. You control the setting, you control the props, you control the lighting, you control where the camera is, everything. That's a studio photography shot. So this is really cool. Maybe you're saying this adds to the vintage look a little bit. I don't mind the graininess. I think that looks vintage. It almost looks like film, which we're gonna do later. But these little dots, I don't know how I feel about that. If it was on accident, a Wii. Remember the Wii? I like this alarm clock a lot. It looks like vintage. That's vintage right there. All right, so I'm digging that. These are cool set. I kind of like this one. I really like the lighting. It looks like the book is glowing. This one's cool. Nope, this is Canvas's fault. See the little red dot again? I like this. I wish it was a little bit sharper. So when we talked about stroboscopic and hitting with the flash, it should be like steps, like very clear steps. This is kind of blurry, but I like the idea behind it. And if this is a studio shot, which this is also a studio shot, you got to really control everything. So if this was my picture, I would crop it like this. Crop that out just so we don't have that in. Whatever this is down here is like a shoelace, I would crop that out. And if you really want people to focus on what's happening right there, then you got to really crop stuff out and really control everything. So I also wish we had maybe some other stuff in the background that wasn't just a carpet and a wall. But I like the motion here, and I like the idea we're trying to get across. I like that this is already broken. It's like pre-broken. It's like pre-broken. If I cough in this stream or sneeze, I'm just gonna delete the whole thing. but like we never saw anything. Luckily, I'm isolated to this room, and I haven't left my house in 3 days. Hopefully, you haven't either. Hola, hello. All right. So this one's decent. I think this is a studio shot. Definitely a studio photography shot. This is definitely a studio photography shot. And you can see the difference in sharpness. And I like all these little details. You guys know I'm a big fan of this grungy stuff when there's all this like texture and stuff. And the cool thing for this, I'm cheating because I know the background stories. I get to hear all the stories of like why you're taking these pictures and why they're meaningful. You guys might not notice everything right away. You know it's a wrench, you know it's a ring, probably a wedding ring. But on top of that, you don't really get a lot. And that's why we talk about titles and stuff to make sure that it gives people some more meaning. But I like that once you read the story, read the title, you see this little bit of a crack right here, and it starts to make sense why that crack is there and what the story is we're trying to tell. But I like, this is basically a portrait. It's just a portrait of a wrench. A wrench and a ring. So it's, but the really dark background one, we don't like have an idea of like what to put in the background. Just keeping it dark like this makes it kind of mysterious, and I dig that. So just pure darkness is okay when we want people to focus right here. Man, so where's my Florida picture? Guys, I've been so like bored. I'll probably do a Florida live stream on Instagram or something, and take some pictures just because I'm looking for stuff to do. This is going to be fun for today, for at least this morning, but then after that, I don't know. We'll see. So I'll probably take some pictures later, and let me know if you want me to live stream them on Instagram or something if you're going to watch that, or if I should do another live stream, because it took me like 3 hours to set this up. So now that everything is set up, maybe I'll just do more live streams just because I'm bored. All right, cool portrait shot. So funny thing is, like, yeah, this is a studio portrait of a wrench. This is just like a nice portrait. And taking good portraits is really difficult. And I'm going to tell you something that I think like is even harder is taking portraits of people that you know a lot and that you really like. Because if you know them, you have like this idea in your head about like what they should look like and what they look like to you, and then when you see a picture of them, you're like, I don't know if that's really them, and it's kind of awkward. But like for me, because I don't have as much experience with this person, like this is just a really nice portrait and stuff that I like that makes it really nice. These little catch lights in the eye, the little reflections, are one thing that makes a portrait go from like right here to like right there, and just like bumps it up a little bit. But the lighting is good. It's hero lighting, but it's really subtle because we have highlights on this side of the face, we have highlights on this side of the face, and we do have a shadow, but it's really, really subtle. It's not like a hard line, but it is a hero shot. I like the pose. I like that she's looking off into the future. I like the earrings. I like everything about this portrait's really nice. The black and white, I think, makes it even more like dramatic kind of, but like good, meaningful dramatic. All right, cool. Dig this portrait shot. I like I like the composition because when she's looking up like this, I like all this empty space because it kind of lets you fill it in, and it doesn't seem too claustrophobic like I feel right now in this room because I'm quarantined. If you guys are just showing up, welcome to the quarantine live stream. Going through people's pictures because it's Wednesday, my second favorite day of the week. Alright, so very dramatic, obvious hero shot. I dig this. One thing that makes this picture stand out to me, like if you look at just the face, a lot of good detail, but like the light that we have here is actually a little bit not as bright as this light back here, as our short side of the face. And we have a really nice shadow going right down the middle. So it really like gives you all the like little bumps and nooks and crannies of the face. So this is a really cool hero shot. I like that we can read round lake here. Again, when we don't know what to put in the background, if it's just coming out of darkness, that's really cool. So we'll take that. Good pose, good look, and again, in the eye, just enough of a reflection right there to make it look cool. Nice earring, look at that. So I like this. This is a good, solid, just hero shot. All right. This one I like a lot, and for a couple reasons. As a portrait, like it's a nice portrait. The quality of the photograph is a little bit grainy. That doesn't always bother me though, because the actual picture is good, and hopefully that makes sense. The graininess is not even like a problem, because the actual picture is so important that it's okay. Um, I like the composition in this vignetting we use. It's like that. So I showed you a video of a guy named Platan who went to Africa and shot a bunch of pictures. And when he shoots portraits, especially for some people, he's trying to make them look almost like religious pictures. So they have like almost like a halo, like they're glowing, like my prayer candle here. The Virgin Mary has like this glow around her. That's what he does with his vignette. So I like that we kind of copied that here, and it makes this person look like they're glowing. To add to that, the other props are important. So remember we talked about how props are like the best way to tell a story. So we have, looks like a little prayer card here, or a prayer book, and then we got the rosary. And the rosary kind of fades into darkness. So that's kind of cool, and I like that this is the only red thing, so it kind of pops out a little bit more. And I like that she's not looking at the camera, she's looking at her prayer book, so it's like not aggressive or anything. It's just like she's just kind of caught in this act, which is really cool. So this is like a studio portrait, all right, which we're going to compare to some other portraits, but this is definitely a studio shot. I dig it. Nice editing. How do I react to this picture? This is a nice shot. I think I did some smoothing on it. Here's the original picture. Hold on. Here's the original picture. I'm sorry, I was editing it. Hopefully I have permission to do that. Here's the original with all the grain. The grain is not bad, like I said before. It doesn't always bother me. But if you wanted to get rid of it, there's a way to do that. But this is a solid pose. I don't know if I dig all this space up here. Maybe I would crop it, because that's a lot of emptiness. What if we just did that? Boom, now it's a square. It can fit on Instagram easy. Alright. But the lighting is cool. I wonder if we could change this orange to a little bit more yellow, because it's round lake, so like the blue makes perfect sense, but I wonder if the orange was a little bit more yellow. That'd be nice. Let's see what we can do with our colors. Boom. So take the orange, make it a little bit more yellow. Now we got round lake colors. Good pose, good props, round lake tennis racket. Now here's what I did with the grain. If we want to get rid of the grain in Lightroom, there's this little detail tab. And all we want to do is hit this noise reduction. You don't want to hit it too much. If you go all the way up, it looks like he's made out of wax. We don't want that. Maybe like halfway up wouldn't be bad. So that, compared to that, it's subtle. Hopefully, I don't even know if YouTube's gonna pick it up. If this is like 480p quality or whatever, you might not see it. But it's like a subtle thing just to get rid of a little bit of that grain. But overall, nice shot, nice hero shot. Good shadow down the middle. It's almost like, look, there's like red right there where the two colors connect. The only thing that would have made this pop out and then took it from here to here is if it had that little catch light in the eye, if there was a little bit more reflection. So we got a little bit right there. All right. So solid shot, good editing. If you wanted to change the color, that's a quick way to do it through this color tab in Lightroom. Boom. Here's two. They're also set. Even just comparing these two, like we talked about, if this is the kind of, because this, I would say these are portraits, this is a studio portrait. This is kind of like street photography, but in street photography, you can't like add or take away to your setting, but you can frame it a certain way. So you can pick and choose exactly what's in the picture. And just getting rid of this thing up here makes the picture look a lot better. So you don't physically have to remove it. You just have to change your camera angle enough to only show the exact things that you want to show. So I would recommend, so of these two pictures, this is definitely the top shot right here. And it almost needs like a little bit more drama, and something that makes it's an easy, like, give it more drama is just make it black and white and then bump up our contrast a lot. So now we're really focusing right there. Like the camera's literally focused right there, but like now we're really focusing on that. And if this is a street photography shot, which is what I would call it, then we still want like some sort of story. And it's like, what is happening? Okay, like there's a piano, it looks cool, but like, so what? Like even if we had a person sitting right here, like about to hit the piano, that would give us a little bit of a story because you're like, all right, there's a piano and someone's about to play it, or there's a piano and someone's walking away from it. But we want a little bit of a story from it. But overall, this is a nice dramatic shot, and I dig it. Okay, okay, okay. This one's this one's kind of caught in the middle of two different things because it's an awesome hero shot. The lighting is good, even down his fist. Like look at that, with the shadow down the middle, it makes his knuckles pop out, makes his friendship bracelet pop out nice. But the shadows are really cool. The lighting's really cool. It's kind of stuck in this middle place where it's like obviously photoshopped in a way that I don't know if it adds, especially because like we're missing part of his ear right there. He got Mike Tyson. It's gone. But the actual portrait, the picture is fantastic. It's awesome. Like you got the catch lights in the eyes. We got good shadows. We got a good pose. We got everything good. The city in the back is almost like too overwhelming. Like it gets, it gets your attention. He's larger than. I guess that makes sense. He's larger than life. I would say if we could, I wonder if we can. Let me just see if we can do it with the color real quick. If we can take that city and make it like fade back a little bit more so it was there but like not super obvious. So I'm gonna take the color blue and I'm just gonna make it less saturated and make it a little bit darker. I don't know. I don't know if that did it. I might have to take it into Photoshop. But we just don't want it as obvious because then it kind of overpowers. It's like we can't have two things fighting for attention. Or even if you made this blurry in the background, then it could kind of fade back a little bit more. But overall, this pose is good. I don't dislike the idea. I like the idea. I just think that right now they're like this. They're fighting for attention. So Uncanny Valley is exactly right. It's like, what do I focus on? Do I focus on this? Do I focus on this? And if they're both in focus, then it's unnatural to us. But I dig it. This shot's awesome. Like I really like this. This is just even the lights on the hands. So cool. Dig it. This which obviously is a studio shot. We're kind of mixing with graphic design here, which is not a huge problem because obviously I like graphic design. Oh, this one's kind of awkward in between two different categories too, because it's obviously a portrait, but it's also not like controlled with the lighting or controlled with like the setting or anything. So it's kind of like a studio shot, or excuse me, it's kind of like a street shot. Because it's street photography, you can jump up on a stranger and be like a weird, creepy paparazzi and like shoot pictures of them, and they kind of will give you this look because they won't be happy about it. And if it's a street photography shot, again, we want like a little bit of a story besides this guy looks a little angry at us. But if it's a studio portrait, then we want to control it even more. So we kind of got to pick which way we want to go. Do we want to make a street photography shot where like someone's doing something random, like a little moment, or do we want to make it a portrait where we're really controlling everything? So it's got to go one way or the other. Right now it's in the middle. We can't be on the fence, so we got to make it obvious which one it is. Okay, nice. I feel weird calling this portrait, his hands, but it's definitely a portrait studio photography shot where everything is really tightly controlled, and I like it. So I like it even more when the title of it I know is called Young Love, which is interesting because these people are obviously not young, and now that title tells you a little bit more of a story, right? So these people have probably been in love for a long time, which is cool. And then we got a little bit of like a touch of color here, which if that had been an actual light instead of photoshopped in would have been a little bit better. But I like that this color kind of mirrors the colors that are popping off of the nails, and then I like that we can see the wedding ring here and the wedding ring here. So there's not a lot to see, but everything that we do see adds to the story. The only thing I think could have added to the story more is if their hands were not just like on a blanket, but if they were on like some other materials that had to do with their relationship or their marriage or something. But everything is tightly controlled. I like it. I even like the hands almost make like the shape of a heart. So I'm digging that. I like the texture of it a lot. So I'm digging this one. Very cool studio shot. Another good studio portrait. I almost wish. No, that would have been cheesy. I was gonna say, I almost wish that we had like combined them into like one person with two different faces and like blurred it in the middle. That would have been like a heavy Photoshop job. But I don't know if it would have been better or worse. But now I'm thinking about it, would have been kind of cheesy. So I like this, just darkness in the middle. The only thing, I like the lights there, I like the light there in the eyes. I guess, I don't know, you guys tell me. It's obvious to me that this is the same person twice. Is it obvious to you guys? I don't know. I like that it's the same person, but it's because then it starts talking about like each person has like two personalities and that sort of stuff. So I don't know if you guys can tell it's the same person or not, but I can, and I dig that. It almost looks like there's a little bit of warmth here, like a little bit of red on this side. I don't know if that's from her hair or what, but there's no coolness here, so I don't know if we want to do that or if we don't want to do that. I think one thing that would have made it more obvious that it's the same person is if this cross was a little bit more obvious here, because she's covering her face. We can't really tell from that. We kind of have to look at other stuff like her jewelry to be like, oh, obviously this is the same person. So I would say play with it, see if we can mix it together where they're like combining like this and see what happens. Boom. This is another set, so there's a bunch that are all together. Oh, not that one. So these three. I know I'm not going to take points off for this, but I know I said it should be one picture. You guys should pick the one picture that we like, but the three pictures together kind of tell us more about this person. So I guess the challenge here would be like, what's the one picture that tells us the most without the other two pictures? This is such a cool picture. I like the hero lighting, obviously. I like, you can even see the little circle of the ring light. I like all the texture. I like the colors, how bright they are. This is just a really nice portrait. Does it tell me like a story about this person? Maybe, maybe not. Like I can kind of see they're in like rougher like work clothes. And this is not like your typical model. Like it's not like some Instagram model. It's like hanging out in Cancun or whatever, right? So it tells me a little bit more just by what it doesn't show me. And then this one, putting it together, we got like the ripped jeans and boots don't really, and then even like the soccer ball is like old and kind of beat up. So like this one kind of, it's a juxtaposition. We have like a playful ball, but then we have like a work boot with ripped up jeans. It tells us a little bit about somebody, but this one I think tells us the most about who this person is and what they do. I like when we talk about stroboscopic like this, I like the three different levels, like 1, 2, 3, and I like how in focus this one is and how we can see all that texture. Actually, I think I already cropped it. This was the original, and I messed with it a little bit. Hopefully I have permission to do that. I just think this is cool. It's cool that it looks like it's going to hit something, the hammer is going to hit something, but I don't think this object is super important, and if it's not important, like I said before, we could just get rid of it, because what's really important is that motion. Like, this is a hardworking person, this is what they do. This hammer's been used, obviously. Even like just from looking at the hand, we don't need to see the person's face to see like, all right, they're probably a little bit older and they work a manual labor job. It tells me more of a story than even this one, even though I love this picture. This one doesn't tell me as much of a story as this one. So if this is your set of pictures, you get to decide like which one's the most important one, right? So another set, 2 pictures. I like this because it shows how a couple subtle changes can really change like the feeling of a picture. And the weird thing about this one, I wouldn't call this one a portrait shot, even though it's a picture of a person. I would say this is more of like a photojournalism shot. You can take something that's happening. So this, the Round Lake basketball team won the conference championship, and let's pretend you're like a newspaper reporter there. You're taking a picture of something that's already happening. You're not controlling it. You're not changing it. Maybe you're posing them a little bit, but you're framing it in a certain way. So even like the framing of this with the panther in the back, the player in the front, the net, everything, it kind of tells a story that could be you could read about in a newspaper. But making it black and white makes it more dramatic, which I think is cool. It makes the net pop out more, and it makes this metal pop out more compared to this. Right, so good shot for photojournalism, and I like that the choice of making it black and white makes it like more dramatic. I guess I like drama. Drama's a good thing, right? This is just a single shot. This is a portrait shot too, or a studio shot, excuse me. I like that the focus is right here. I like the different colors. I like the story we can get from this. So this is a studio shot. Just like this, we can get a story from it though. So we have a big shoe, we have a baby, and we have baby shoes. We're like, oh, this family likes shoes, and these are the baby's new shoes he's about to get with a little teddy bear. That's so cute. And the white of the shoes and the bear like really is going to reflect the colors a lot. I'm a big fan of colors, so I would probably even take these colors and make them more saturated. So if I took the saturation and made it like more colorful, that's probably what I would do. Bump up the vibrance a little bit too. Almost looks like they're in a club, like a dancing nightclub from the 80s, if you're into that sort of thing. But it looks a lot brighter, and I'm a fan of that. So I like that. The only thing I wish I could see the bottom of this little triangle. I don't know why. I wish that, but I wish I could see it. So boom. Studio shot, another studio shot. I think I cropped this already. So this was the original. And I was gonna say, normally I don't like the lights in the picture like this, but I kind of like that like star type texture it's giving off. And this is a really dramatic shot, so that's why I cropped it even more to make it tighter, to be like, all right, this is the drama right here. We got like a little triangle composition, portrait, light, boxes. So like the boxes tell us a little bit of a story. I don't know what the story is, but that tells the story. I like the hero lighting with the one light, and now we have a triangle composition, so that's pretty cool. I would say this is definitely a studio shot though. So studio portrait, studio portrait, studio portrait. I don't think I did anything to this one. I like it as is. It's a studio portrait, but could also be if we're talking about what's going on right now, it's kind of like a photojournalism a little bit, right? This could be in a Newsweek or a newspaper about the coronavirus and how people are reacting to it. But I like how dramatic this is. We just talked about how much drama I like. I like the darkness around the edges. I like the catch light in the eye. Only thing, if we could have had like a little bit of a silhouette out here so we could see the edge of the dark side of his head. That would be kind of cool, just to give you just a touch of something back there, a hair light. It would make it look like it's glowing, and it would add more depth to make this look more 3D. But if we don't have that, then I at least like the darkness, because it almost looks like this is in the middle of a zombie apocalypse and we're like being lit up with a little candle or something. So really dramatic. I dig it. Black and white was a good choice here. I don't think color would have helped it make it any better. So I like the black and white. I like this. You can almost see the texture of like the mask where it feels almost like waxy or something. Cool. All right, this is a shot I think I edited and played with a little bit. Portrait shot. I want to say studio shot for this one because we're really controlling everything. I don't normally like the light sources in the picture, but this also is giving me some lens flare, like this kind of star type pattern, which I dig. And then I really like the way the edge of the hand almost connects with the edge of the face. Right, so it almost like it's one long continuous thing. And just like that wrench picture, this is a portrait of a wrench. This is a portrait of a hand. And I like that there's a little bit of enough detail to kind of give you a little bit of a story. We have a little bit of a face, so we know that there's a person there. This clock, or this little pocket watch, is pretty cool. I like the shape of it. I like all the details. I even like this lens flare down here. I don't normally... One thing I wanted to play with this is something called split toning, which is super popular on Instagram, but I wanted to show you how it works with this picture. I thought it would look nice. All the split toning does is it takes your highlights and your darks and it kind of lets you pick what color you want those to be. So not like adding your own light, but you can play with the light afterwards. So say I want all my highlights to pretend that there's like a yellow light. So now you see it turns a little bit yellow. And I want all my shadows to be kind of maybe like a bluish tone. Something like that. And it almost looks like an Instagram filter. Only thing I don't like about this is it made the pan really like purple. So what if I do like a lighter blue, right? So it kind of switches up some colors. So if we take our highlights again, and let's say my highlights are pink, and my shadows are a dark blue, it adds like an Instagram filter over the top. This is a little extreme, but some of these subtle ones let you change the color just enough to make it like a little bit more of the effect that you want. And I thought that would look cool in this picture, just to give it like a little bit of that Instagram filter type feel. That's called split toning. Boom. All right. This one's interesting because I would say these shots can work by themselves. Like, this is just a nice portrait, nice hero shot. I like the angle of it. I like the lighting. I like the catch light in the eye. This is just a nice hero shot. So I dig that. This is just a nice portrait shot of hands. Like, I like the lighting on the left side and the right side. Shadow in the middle. This is just a nice shot. Those are bowling shoes. I guess I know they're bowling shoes because of this. Like, this all starts to make sense. That it's bowling. These are bowling related. These two pictures almost work together like one image. I like that he's wearing turkey, and the turkey has shoes, and the next picture is shoes. But then, see this big negative space right here? This kind of separates them. So it almost makes it like these two are a picture. This is its own picture, because there's a big separation of negative space right here. And then right here also. And so that's like two separate pictures. So in our heads, we see like this is one image, this is another image. Which is really nice, by the way. So they're like each individual good shots. I don't know about putting them this way. I almost would just connect the top two and then have the bottom two be separate. So nice job, nice portrait. I think this one by itself is my favorite picture. I like that one a lot. I don't know if it's really bowling related to you, but I like the picture a lot. I like the lighting, just how the way everything kind of fits together and the whole composition. So I dig that. Next one, this one I'm kind of torn about. To me, I know it's like a studio portrait because I know that this was set up. But if this was a street photography shot, like if this was kind of like a random person walking through, that would be such a cool shot. So like as a portrait, like it's nice and I like it. I like that this is in focus. I like that it's not just an obvious face portrait. I like that this one's out of focus. I like that the background's dark. And it's a good studio portrait. But if it was like a street photograph, and this is what makes street photographs so interesting, you kind of have to set up in a spot and just wait. Like, if you had a mirror set up like this in a specific spot, because I like the way the shadows are kind of going across his face, in a specific place where you're like, man, when someone walks through here, it's going to look cool. That would make an awesome street photography shot. So it's like, it's a really good portrait, but as a street photo, it would be like up here. So that's the kind of thing, if we're trying to do street photography, that's one thing to remember is like, sometimes we have to set up a shot and just wait for someone to walk by, wait for someone to sit in a certain spot, and then that would make our picture. So you have to like think into the future. So overall, cool shot. Actually, I would crop this one too. I don't think we need so much darkness down here. What if it was, like, what if just this was our picture? I don't know, does that make it better? Does that make it worse? I don't know anymore. So that's something I would try. This one's a very nice portrait of a cat. I like the lighting here. I know we photoshopped this afterwards to have two different lights, but I'm a fan of that. And the same thing with this portrait. As this portrait, I wish one thing that would have made it just pop out a little bit more is if you could see the edge of this side of the cat's, because you can see a little bit of its ears. But if you can see that outside edge, it just makes the whole picture look a little bit rounder. But I like all the texture. And I like that it's focused right on the cat's eye. That's really hard to do, to focus on an animal's eyeball. Alright, another set. Out of these, so this is again a studio photograph. Do I like the black and white more? I think I do like the black and white more with the dark background. And out of these, I do like this one where the rosary pops out a little bit more. So this is probably the shot that I would pick. I do kind of wonder if this is something we could have done if we have like this light blue color, like that's in the rosary. If we could have left the light blue in this, it would have been like all black and white with a little bit of light blue. Maybe it would have looked cheesy, but now I'm kind of wondering what it would have looked like if we could get that little bit of detail. But I really like it because it tells us a story, like I said, without giving us too much information. It lets us make the story in our head. So I'm digging it. Good studio portrait shot. Alright. Again, a studio portrait shot. I like that we were able to get this so sharp. This little bit of a glow is weird, but I like the stroboscopic. I like that we cut it. I like that we made the background dark, but it was kind of hard to do right there because I can still see the brick. But I like the composition of it. I like the falling. I like that this one's coming off the page. It just adds to the element of like, obviously this stuff is falling down into the book. And even the book opened up to this specific page is like, lets us read this enough so we can see a lot of details here. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this stroboscopic shot. And I'm a fan of having more than one prop in there. And every prop that we have tells a story. So this is, again, a studio shot, studio portrait, even though it's not a person, because it tells us a story of a human being. So that's a good portrait. And I like it. Something weird happened here with the yellowness, but I like the texture of this down here where it's kind of all flopping around. So I dig it. Boom. Good hero shot. This one we went back and forth on because I'm not sure what would have been better to focus on the eyes or focus on the cross. Like right now, I just want to see it both ways, but this one does a really cool thing. I like the whole composition, but it does a really cool thing with the reflections on the eyes. It's got two colors, which kind of adds a little bit, I don't want to say meaning, but it adds a little bit more depth to the picture because now we have like two things that we're looking at. Because this composition, the way everything's kind of coming off the frame is really cool. And then we can tell that her hood is up, which is not normally like, it's normally kind of like if I'm trying to be sneaky, I'll put my hood up. But then we have the cross up, which is like, gives a different meaning. So the two lights and the eye and the two kind of sort of poses help give this like almost like a dual meaning, which is really cool. And look at the way that I like the reflections coming off. We have like blue over here and red over here. I almost wish we could have tried another one where this is super sharp and then like her eyes are a little bit blurry. But right now we're kind of in the middle. Either way, I really like the composition and I really like the lighting. So out of like all the things that we couldn't control, we controlled almost everything really nice. So this is a really cool studio shot. Alright, another set of studio shots. I really dig. This one, I don't know if this is the one I'm going to pick, but see this little bit at the end? I'm just going to, boom, crop it out. Now no one ever knows. I like these poses. I like this pose. Can we make this a little bit brighter? Exposure up a little bit. Shadows down a little bit. Highlights up a little bit. Alright, so just a little bit more exposure. But again, I like the catch lights. I like the pose looking off to the side. I even like the saying on the hoodie. So it goes. Hey, that's what happens. We have to stay at home for 4 months and not leave a room. I like it. I like this pose better than these. Just because it's one person by itself and the whole composition is nice. So like, I don't always like mirrored compositions, but like, see how there's all this empty space here and there's also empty space here. But then see here how this is cut off at his elbow and this still has a lot of empty space, so it's not the same on each side. This one works it a little bit better, but then we don't have as much good detail in here. So this is my favorite one out of these three. Solid studio shot, hero shot with the shadow right in the middle. Boom. Next two, these are kind of tough because I know that they're trying to be studio shots, but they almost work better as like photojournalism pictures. Like if we're trying to, let's pretend you didn't know this person. You're trying to take pictures of this person to kind of tell a little bit of a story about them. This one doesn't tell me much except for like her work shirt. But this one tells me a little bit more, um, just from looking at this. And actually, I would probably crop this. I'd get rid of this little red box and focus right here. Maybe even just focus on this. Let's do that. So now we got the hands, we got the book, we got this wedding ring, and that by itself tells us a story. We got the hands of somebody a little bit older who is married and maybe has been married for a while, who likes to cook. So this picture tells me more about the person than this picture, even though this tells me what they look like. Because the details tell me like what this person likes and what they're into. I don't love this harsh shadow right here from the flash, so maybe we'll crop that out too. And we just have like this long photo this way, and it kind of makes us look back and forth like this. I like that this is a cooking book, but I wish it was a different cooking book with no faces on it. So it's obvious that we like to cook, but without having to like look at other people's faces. It sounds terrible, but we really want to focus on the hands. And this reminds me of a song. There's a song called Grandma's Hands that I really like, and it just talks about the stuff that Grandma's hands do, and because your hands really are expressive of who you are, I like that this kind of gets there. So this picture, I think, is more expressive than this picture, just because of all the little details that we can pick up on. Boom. This is our last shot, and this is another one where I'm like, man, it could be a portrait, because it's obviously a portrait, but to me, this is more of like another photojournalism shot, because it's telling you a story that's like a little bit set up, but not like all the way set up, you know? I don't know, just it looks so real, it looks so raw to me that it would say this is a photojournalism shot. It's not like obviously staged, where like, so for this, when we take portraits like this is obvious that we brought someone in, we set it up, we set up all the lights. This to me looks a little bit more raw, like this is just the person in the middle of what they're doing anyways, and all the details kind of push forward this story, and I really like it because this picture would make sense in a magazine, in a story about breast cancer, something like that. So this is either, I would say this is either like a street photography shot or like a photojournalism, because you're catching someone in this like little moment, almost like they're not even paying attention to you, they're doing their own thing, and you caught them right in the middle of it. So I love this picture as a photojournalism or as a street photography shot. Even if you did set up all this other stuff, it doesn't matter because it looks real, it looks raw. So I like that about it. Alright, that's all the pictures I had. If you guys submitted a picture and I didn't look at it, I don't have the picture. But thank you guys for submitting these. I like this project a lot. You guys can bring really meaningful stuff to these pictures, so I'm a fan of that. If you hung out the live stream, cool. If you left, if you watched part of it, either way. If you watched me talk about your picture, fantastic. But next few days, I'll be doing stuff like this. I know some of you guys want me to take my own picture for this, which I never really did for the hero's journey shot. So I have time. We'll probably do that today or tomorrow. And maybe I'll live stream it. Maybe it took me a while to set this up, so maybe I'll live stream it. Maybe I'll put it on Instagram. Either way, be in touch with me if you guys need anything. I'll see you guys soon. Hopefully, keep up the good work. Take it easy. Peace. Subscribe. Hit like. Share. Buy my merch. All that stuff. Bye.